Hello, world. My name is Razzie, and I'm coming on today to make an announcement. And that announcement is that I am pregnant. I am pregnant. This is my first time being pregnant, and I wanted to come on to talk about my first trimester with y'all because I am now 11 weeks, will be 12 uh, in 6, 7 days. Right? I just turned 11 weeks, and it's been an interesting journey. I want to talk about my symptoms as well as just what it feels like to be an expecting mother for the first time. So, a little bit of background on me: I am 30 years old. I wasn't necessarily planning on getting pregnant, but I will say that my intuition has been heightened for, well, a while. I'm also a spiritual guide and coach, and you can find on my channel I'll be adding a lot of different content on spirituality, numerology, and just life in general, because I have a lot to share. And so I've actually been feeling intuitively that I was going to be having a child ever since I met my partner. We are only together now for a year and some change, right? And that's a whole other topic in itself. But when I met him and things started taking an actual serious turn, which is a few months in, we were also long distance, by the way, but like I said, another story. I just started feeling about 6 months in that I was changing, and a lot of it has been my diet. I've always been, for years now, right? I'm 30, so since in my early 20s, I've been conscious of food, conscious of what I'm putting in my body, and I've been trying to eat cleaner and to eat smarter and to learn what it is that is actually nutritious for a while. But last year, after another very spiritual experience and a spiritual retreat that me and a few other women held in Mexico, I came back feeling differently. I cut out coffee, and anybody who drinks coffee on the regular and loves coffee knows that that's a big deal, because of course it's highly addicting. And even when people say, oh, I'm not addicted to coffee, I just like the taste, yeah, you're addicted. Right? Let's call it what it is. And then same thing with the weed. Definitely have had my days of smoking and not against it, but in the last year or two I've slowed down a lot. And then when I came back from Mexico early last year, which it's 2022 now, so that was 2021, I came back feeling like I didn't need these things anymore. I kind of just had a different perspective and felt like I've learned what I needed to learn, and as well as I got the support that I needed from marijuana. I got the support that I needed from weed when I needed it, and I was able to look at it as just not necessary. So I stopped smoking. I was the most plant-based I've ever been. I've always gone a little back and forth, but I really turned a leaf, and my diet was maybe 1-2% meat, and that was very rare on the occasion. I was still drinking. I'm more of a social drinker, but I slowed down a lot. I stopped feeling like I wanted it. And then my relationship kept getting more serious over time. We were making decisions to move in together and, support each other. So yeah, kids weren't on the mind, but intuitively I kept feeling and I kept saying, especially for the people that are closest to me, they know that I've been saying, like, I feel like my body is just preparing itself. I feel like I'm cleaning myself out. Went on and did some juice cleansing, some detoxing, and I was actually also suffering from fungal acne on my face because of a bad living scenario about like 2.5 years ago, and it kind of stuck with me ever since, and I was also motivated to get rid of that. I will say that the detoxing is what really helped clear all of that. So my body, I felt like it was operating at just a better energy level. And I'm a very spiritual person, so I kept getting these signs and messages from people about me getting pregnant. Now, the funniest part of this story is that my partner and I, he wanted to go through a period of abstinence, right? To conquer his own energy with that. And I was supportive, but also it was difficult. We moved from New York to Florida, and this was the first time we were living together, and we drove all the way there. It was an ordeal because he was originally in North Carolina and made his way down to where I was, and then we made our way up here. So I say all of that to say that it was difficult staying abstinent when we were adjusting to living together, adjusting to the new relationship. We still have so much sexual energy that we had for one another too, so it's not as easy as what it seems. And of course, while we are trying to do this, a few months later, after being here, bam, I was 6 days late. 6 days late on my period, and I knew something was up because I have very regular periods. And especially also, just FYI, all of the clean eating and detoxing helped me get rid of my cramps, and my period was very healthy, very regular, and I wasn't dealing with a lot of symptoms. Just throwing that out there because it really does make a difference. I think letting go of coffee makes a difference too. But back to the subject. So yeah, I was 6 days late, and like every day that I was late, I was like, all right, the most that I'm late or early is 2 days, and usually just because my period is transitioning, right? It doesn't always stay the same. So I knew something was up. I didn't really feel much symptoms in my body yet. But I took a test, and I'm talking about as I was peeing on the stick, it changed. I was looking at it while I was doing it, and it changed, and it said I'm pregnant. So clearly I had a lot of HCGs in my system, because that is the hormone that gets picked up to show you whether or not you're pregnant. So I just started laughing. Like, I just remember sitting there and watching it and just like laughing. Like, I couldn't believe it. It was, I have a tendency to have, I guess, a nervous laugh, right? But this was like a joyous laugh, because even though we didn't necessarily want to get pregnant, it was like a big confirmation for all the things I've been feeling, and I instantly felt grounded. Like, I wasn't scared, and I'm very grateful for that. And that could be because of so many things. I'm not sure what it is. I'll tell you this much though, it's not necessarily like because I'm financially set and my life is in order, you know. My circumstances are not perfect at all. We came down here to get our shit together, quote unquote, so that we can go off completely on our own, and I'm living with family. And so, you know, at 30 years old, obviously some people will deem that as failure or whatever the case may be, but it's not for me. I know exactly why I was called to be with my family now too. It just makes so much more sense. I've been leading my life with my senses for as long as I can remember, so it all came together for me in that moment. Now, I knew breaking the news to my partner was going to be interesting because I knew that he would feel not yet prepared and he would feel pressure. Although I have this overwhelming sense that everything's going to be all right, you know. I have the support. We have the support. We have the love around us. And yeah, it's going to be challenging, but we're ready, and it's time. For whatever reason, it's time. You know, you can't really dictate certain timings of things in life, and this is one of them. So those are all the great feelings. I broke the news to him, and yeah, he was definitely shocked and scared, but within a few weeks he started settling in, and he was definitely excited as well, but realizing, you know, how much change this is gonna bring. And remember, we're early in our relationship, so we're still getting used to each other, and we're still learning each other. And now to say, okay, well, we have to kind of shelf certain things with each other to take on this new life is crazy. I won't say that it isn't, but it feels right. That's what I know. And, you know, maybe it's my age and my experience through things that have brought me here. I've always been very serious about raising kids, but I was never really strict on whether or not, if it happened to me, it was a like non-negotiable in my life. Like, it had to happen to me, you know. I'm very open. I could have waited till I was 35, or it could have never happened and I would have been okay. My passion really lies with helping parents that are out there understand their children through psychology and astrology, and, you know, connecting with the divine to understand what are we imparting on these next generations, because they are so important. And, you know, what are the things that we needed as children that we didn't receive? How can we find a healthy balance in giving that to our kids? It's always been a big deal to me. And so, you know, I feel prepared in a sense because I have researched so much about children and kids and thought about what I would do and how I would raise my kids. And I've learned so much over the years with the life changing, the pandemic happening, etc., of what I want to provide and how I want to provide and what I want to instill, the values I want to instill in a new child that is going to grow up to be an adult in the world, right? So now let's talk about like my first trimester and all of the things that happen, all the good things, all the bad things. We'll talk about some of the good things. I started to receive, of course, a lot of love from my family and my friends, and that was really beautiful to feel, especially when you come from a past of not having a lot of intimacy, not feeling a lot of love. I, before this, have been very settled with the love that I have for myself, so I wasn't looking for more. But having people that tell you, you know, you're ready for this, you're gonna be a great mom, it's a beautiful feeling. Because the type of person I am, like, people have told me in the past, I don't know, I can't see you being a mom. And that was very triggering, even at like 16 years old or whatever the case may be, because like I said, I've always taken the thought of raising children so seriously. And why would you ever tell a child that? Like, someone who hasn't even gotten to adulthood. Just why, right? So people say a lot of things. But before we get to the bad things, let's stick to the good. So one of the good things is I am in that lucky percentage of pregnant women that do not experience major morning sickness. Now, I will say though that I got instantly sensitive to even thinking about food. That's not who I am. Like, even though I've been going plant-based and all of this, very conscious about food, I don't have any allergies to food. I can eat it all, and I would try anything once. So I'm very open when it comes to that. And all of a sudden, just thinking about certain foods just made me want to throw up. And it was hard because coming to where I am in Florida, there's not a lot of plant-based options, not a lot of vegan options. So it's been hard out here. I've been balancing. In the first few weeks, like before week 10, actually before week 11, before right now, I was craving more meat, and I was giving myself what my body asked for, you know, because you gotta listen to your body. I've listened to myself up until this point of my life, and I have not steered myself wrong. So I was listening to my body, and I was giving in to some of my cravings because I knew that, you know, my energy and my hormones were all over the place. I was definitely staying hydrated. I had to drink a lot more water. And throughout the day, I would feel a little bit queasy. At week 5, my energy was off. That's the thing that's been hardest for me. My energy just got thrown all the way off. I have a lot of energy, and I like to work and keep myself occupied with things, and like staying busy even on social media and building my business and whatnot. And even though I take those things slowly, you know, I'm never in a rush. I always preach, like, give yourself rest. Don't buy into this hustle patriarchy type of mentality where you have to be working to be worthy. That's not true. But I know what I like to do, and my energy was just thrown all the way off. It was a few days where I was just in bed. I didn't necessarily have a headache or anything, but I just felt not good. I just didn't feel good. And of course, the first trimester is when so many changes are happening so rapidly. Your hormones are shifting so rapidly. The baby is forming at such a fast pace that, you know, things like the brain and the heart is starting to be made. That's a lot of work that your body is doing that it's never done before. It's getting ready, it's shifting organs, it's making room. So I needed to sleep more, but at the same time, especially for every week before this one, I've had to wake up really early. Like, I couldn't sleep any longer than like 9. And usually I'll wake up at least at 10. Sometimes I'll wake up early, but for the most part, like, I'll get some sleep in the morning. I don't really have to get up to go anywhere. So being forced to like wake up like that was interesting, and I needed to drink water and smoothies in the morning, make sure to get some food in. Usually I can wait to a few hours before eating, but it was like that was the only thing helping me feel better. And then I was feeling slightly queasy, like I said, very sensitive to the thought of food, slightly queasy. uh, every 2 hours, or when I would need a burp, it would feel like I need to throw up, but it was just a burp. And even experiencing hunger is so different than like what hunger feels like when you're not pregnant. This hunger isn't the same, like it, I don't feel it in my stomach, I feel it all throughout here, if that makes any sense. I feel uncomfortable, and then I start to like get a little bit weaker, like I know I have to go get something to eat. So yeah, that's what that was like. But no morning sickness, no throwing up. I'm so grateful for that. I know that that's not the case for everyone. I was able to sleep right away. I've been going to sleep a lot earlier, just sleeping more in general. I know what has been helping me though is, other than water and smoothies like right in the morning and eating a lot of fruit, walking has helped. Staying somewhat active, even though there were like 2-3 weeks where I did not want to be active at all. I know that like staying a little bit active kind of helped take my mind off things, distract me, so that does help. And those are really my symptoms, because I haven't been, other than just like bloating, peeing a million times at night. Those are your basics that you will learn, or if you do your research, you'll find. Yeah, I've definitely been feeling that. And just adjusting, right? So let's talk about some of the really annoying things, the things that, we don't talk about a lot. So here, a pregnancy symptom is, as you start telling people you're pregnant, people will have a lot to say. There will be a lot of projections and unsolicited advice, like, seriously, when someone finds out you're pregnant, they want to tell you like to do this, do this, do this, do that, which for the most part I don't really mind. And I know that being pregnant is a sensitive topic. It's a trigger for a lot of women. So I've even felt guilt a little bit at being pregnant, knowing that there are so many other women who want to be pregnant and can't be. And that's a hard feeling, because it's not all okay to feel guilty about something that is beautiful and a blessing. And I don't know why I was chosen for this. I don't know why, but it's also not my question to solve. And so, when people are telling you what to do, what not to do, what birth's gonna be like, talking about your body, all of these things, it's not really what you want to hear, especially as a first-time mom. This is my own journey, just like it would be any mother's journey that they are going through, that they get to decide what birth looks like for them. And even hearing people criticize what I'm eating or what I want to eat, especially when it's somebody like your partner or a friend, it's difficult, right? It's annoying, it's frustrating, and you want to stay calm and you want to stay happy. So, and then there's a lot of advice of like, protect your energy against people and bad judgment and blah, blah, blah. As a very spiritual person, yes, I understand. We are definitely vulnerable when we are pregnant, but this is also one of the strongest things a woman's body can do. So even though there's this obvious vulnerability, there's this like strength. And once again, I don't know why this is happening to me. And at any given time, yeah, I could have a miscarriage, and that shit is scary. That's one of the scarier things to think, especially in the first few weeks when you're not obviously showing. I'm showing a little bit, I'll insert some pictures, but I'm not so obvious. So, you're using the bathroom, you're checking to see if you're bleeding, and the days that you don't feel any symptoms, you're like, okay, am I even still pregnant? Because it's a shock. It really is. So yeah, there's a lot of emotions, and then when other people are throwing those emotions on you, making you feel some type of way, whether it's making you feel bad about being pregnant, or being so overly protective over you because they're concerned about the pregnancy, as if you're not concerned, as if I'm not concerned about my child. Of course I am, and of course I'm doing my research. And I just want other mothers to know, anybody who's watching this, if you're watching this for a partner who's pregnant, I think that's great. I think educating yourself as a partner to a pregnant woman is amazing, because your partner, this woman, is going through a lot. And then there's also like the projections of what I look like, because I look young. And I remember going to the doctor for the first time, and at like 5 weeks actually, and I got my first ultrasound and heard the heartbeat. The nurse was looking at me when she called my name, like, and then I knew I wasn't bugging out. Why? Because when she looked at my files, she turned around, she was like, oh wow, I didn't expect for you to be your age. It's like, wow, you're 30 years old. You look so young. And it's like, yeah. So I could also only imagine what younger moms go through. But you know what? If you get pregnant at a younger age, there's no difference. You're still meant to be pregnant, and if you want to keep your child, that is your choice, and no one should judge you for whatever age you are. I get that it comes with a lot of all these preconceptions and ideas, and you're so young, are you ready for this? Like I said, blah blah blah. But what is really needed is support. What is really needed is love, and especially from a nurse or a doctor. Now the doctors never made me feel like that, but the nurses, or one in particular, had a very like, oh wow, shocked. So it's interesting. I knew I was gonna get that. Me and my partner together, like when I'm really deep within the second and third trimester, people are gonna be looking at us like we're a teen couple, and that's cool. For me, it's actually kind of funny, because it's like looking at how people feel and how people react just kind of shows you people's true intentions. And that's the thing, right? When you get pregnant, you'll start to, just on its own, it's going to reveal people's intentions. It's going to reveal how people really feel, no matter how close or how much of an acquaintance they are to you in your life. And it's a tricky feeling to navigate that world while also only being concerned at yourself. It's okay to be selfish when you're pregnant. That's been like the number one. Allowing myself to be selfish, because I work for other people. I'm always in service, and I always value my space and my time and whatnot, but I can really easily feel bad for others. I can easily feel bad for someone else and spend my time trying to be there for someone. But it's been an adjustment period of realizing that none of that matters right now, and all my attention is really going to my body, to my well-being, my health, and my future baby. First trimester comes with a lot, and obviously taking prenatals. I'm taking Ritual prenatals, the brand Ritual. I like that I can see where all of the vitamins come from and whatnot. Making sure I just get as much nutrients as I can while still staying active, and mentally preparing and allowing myself to go through these emotional shifts while knowing that I can take care of myself, and it's okay it's okay to do that. So those have been my thoughts. I'm excited for the second trimester. I'm sure there will be a lot more things to report back on. But for now, this is what has been like for me. And if you guys have any questions or want to know anything else, feel free to ask me in the comments. I will be updating more regularly. I am coming out with this news now publicly. That's also been hard, figuring out when to be public, when not to be. Like, you know, who do I tell? Feeling forced to tell certain people. And I really like to be public with everything, but becoming pregnant, I realize how sensitive this is and how much I do need to take my time with this decision and be sure about it and do it in a way that protects me in a sense, but also leaves room for, you know, everyone to also come on this journey with me, because there's so much learning to be done. There's so much, especially as a first-time mother, you know, and if I can impart and leave some of my wisdom and my story with y'all for somebody else to relate to or understand or come to me, I will do that. So thank y'all for listening. Check out my page or subscribe. Come back to gain some insight and metaphysical knowledge, or just follow my journey. I'm excited to be here and sending y'all all the blessings on your journey.